Welcome back, dear friends. Here we are in the last part of history of Indian Constitution, which is also called as an Constitution making or making of the Constitution. So here we go. As we have seen in our last lecture, that Constituent Assembly was formed, and here the Assembly has worked in 5 stages for the formation of the Indian Constitution. So we'll look after into these five aspects one by one. This committee presented reports on issues. It means that previously, before presenting these reports, they have studied the issues, they have analyzed the issues, and they have presented the report on issues which were present in India. Secondly, the second stage was that Mr. B. N. Rao prepared an initial draft based on the reports and his research into the constitution of other nations. Thirdly, the drafting committee chaired by Dr. B. R. Ambedkar presented a detailed draft constitution which was published for public discussion. It means that this has been given in the hands of the people that they should analyze the draft constitution. This they may suggest the things, and the draft constitution was further discussed and amendments proposed and enacted. So this was the fourth stage, and the fifth stage was that the constitution was adopted with a committee of experts led by Congress party known as the Congress Assembly Party, who had played an important role in making of the constitution. Now, after this, the formation of Indian constitution has been seen. So we will look after into this uh, formation of Indian constitution. I have jotted down this formation of Indian constitution in a way of timeline. We'll see one by one how this all things has been get done uh, during the period from 1946 to the establishment of or enactment of or formation of our Indian Constitution. So on 6th December 1946, there was a formation of Constituent Assembly in accordance with the French practice. Secondly, on 9th December 1946, the first meeting was held in the Constitutional Hall, now which is called as the Central Hall of the Parliament House. And the first person to address to this first meeting was Mr. J. B. Kripalani, and Sachidananda Sinha became the temporary president of this meeting. On 11th December 1946, the Assembly appointed Rajendra Prasad ji as its president, H. C. Mukherjee as its vice chairman, and Mr. B. N. Rao as constitutional legal advisor. Further, on 13th December 1946, an objective resolution was presented by Jawaharlal Nehru, laying down that underlying principles of the Constitution. This latter became called as the preamble of the Constitution. On 22nd January 1947, the objective resolution unanimously was adopted. On 22nd July 1947, we have adopted national flag. On 15th August 1947, we achieved independence and India split into the Dominion of India and Dominion of Pakistan. On 29th August 1947, drafting committee appointed with Dr. B. R. Ambedkar as its chairman. Along with him, there were other 6 members of the committee, which are Mr. Munshi, Mr. Muhammad Shadullah, Mr. Alladi Krishna Swami Iyer, Mr. M. Gopal Swami Iyengar, Mr. Khetan, and Mr. Mittar. After this, on 16th July 1948, along with H.C. Mukherjee, Mr. V.T. Krishnamachari was also elected as the second Vice President of the Constituent Assembly. Till this, number of things has been held and the constitution was going to be get written down. We'll discuss those all things in our third part of this particular uh, making of the constitution. On 26th November 1949, the Constitution of India was passed and adopted by the Assembly. The last meeting of the Constituent Assembly was held on 24th January 1950. Our Constitution was signed and accepted with 395 articles, 8 schedules in it, and 22 parts. On 26th January 1950, the Constitution came into force, and this complete process took 2 years, 11 months, and 18 days, along with the total expenditure of 6.4 million to finish the constitution or to create the constitution. And during the same time, Mr. G.V. Malvankar, who was the first speaker of the Lok Sabha, that is the lower house of the parliament after India turned into a republic. Now, after this, we'll see the making of the constitution. During the making of the constitution, there were major 13 committees who has helped to create the constitution, to make the constitution. We will flash certain light on these 13 committees work which they have did for formation of Indian constitution. So the first committee was called as the drafting committee, which was led by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. Second committee was Union Power Committee. It has been chaired by under the chairmanship of Jawaharlal Nehru. The third committee was Union Constitution Committee. It was once again uh, chaired by Jawaharlal Nehru. The fourth committee was Provincial Constitution Committee, uh, whose chairmanship was awarded to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel ji. The fifth committee was very much important. This committee was called as an advisory committee on fundamental rights, minorities, and tribal and excluded areas, which has been chaired by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. This committee was also having further 4 subcommittees. They are as follows. Number 1 is Fundamental Rights Subcommittee, which has been chaired by J.B. Kripalani. Second committee, that is subcommittee, was Minorities Subcommittee, which has been chaired by Mr. Harendra Kumar Mukherjee. The third one was North-East Frontier Tribal Areas and Assam Excluded and Partially Excluded Areas Subcommittee, which has been given under the chairmanship of Mr. Gopinath Bordoli. And the fourth one is that excluded and partially excluded areas. Apart from those in Assam, this committee has been chaired by Mr. A. V. Thakkar. Now, after this fifth committee, which was the biggest committee during this part, the sixth committee has been given to Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and this committee was called as the Rules of Procedure Committee. The seventh committee was Committee for Negotiating with the State, that is the State Committee, which has been given under the chairmanship of Jawaharlal Nehru. Then the Steering Committee was handed over to Dr. Rajendra Prasad. The next committee which is there is the ninth committee, which was looking after on National Flag and HOC Committee. under the chairmanship of Dr. Rajendra Prasad. The next committee, that is 10th committee for the function of Constituent Assembly, under the chairmanship of G.V. Malvankar. Along with this, someone has to look after into the House, and that's why the House committee has been created. Uh, B. Pattabai Sitaramaiah was the chairman of this committee. Then regarding the language committee has been appointed. Here M. Satyanarayana was appointed as chairman of this committee, and the last committee was Order of Business Committee, which has been chaired by or under the chairmanship of K. M. Munshi. There are a number of other committees also, but these 13 committees were the main committees for the formation of Indian Constitution on 26th January 1950. We have got and converted or turned into uh, Republic India after the making of the Constitution. So hence here the complete Indian Constitution has been given or adopted by we people, that is we the people of India, on 26th January 1950. So here today we are finishing the history of Indian Constitution.